You are Locked On Heat Postcast, part of Locked On Sports Miami on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
What is up, Heat fan? Welcome to another edition of Heat Postcast on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day. Jim Grieshaber, call me Grease. What do you think of the Zebras? It's a Leroy P. Eli special. You know what it is. Art. Wearable art. You got to love that here. Just like the NBA uniforms we see night in and night out. The Heat didn't wear the Vice uniforms tonight, though, although the way they've been playing in the fourth quarter, they couldn't get locked up anyway. But oh, maybe they can, because defensively teams have been having success against them. But they dropped this one tonight. The All-Star break is here. They can get their bearings. More on that as we move through the show tonight. Jim Grieshaber, call me Grease, G-R-I-E-S, at Jim Grease _ on social media. 118-113, the final score tonight. The Heat dropped their third game in a row. They're 3 games under 500 for the first time this season. And they lost to the Dallas Mavericks, who dressed 9 guys tonight, none of whom even play literally regularly for them. You want to know who was out for Dallas? How about Anthony Davis, the newest superstar acquired in the trade from Luka Doncic from the Lakers, AD, 10-time All-Star, no big deal. He's out, right, with the abdominal strain. Kyrie Irving, who takes AD's place in the All-Star game next weekend, he's out with an injury. Klay Thompson, multiple-time NBA champ, he's out as well. Gaffert's out. Lively's out. Both of their centers. PJ Washington also. So those 8 guys out, those are 6 of them right there. And 2 of them are Hall of Famers. 3 probably with Klay Thompson, right? And then Gaffert and Lively, 2 of the young, exciting big men in the league, and PJ Washington. So all those guys out for the Mavs. And how about for the Heat tonight? Yeah, Bam Adebayo out. Terry Rozier out for the second straight day. Andrew Wiggins out again. And that stomach flu, I have to just assume, that stomach flu just ripped through the locker room with Miami. Don't forget, Jaquez missed a couple of games. Tyler missed a game. Ryan Anderson missed a game in the middle there and had just joined the team. So you had a situation with both teams tonight with several key players out. And what did you get? You got Dante Exum scoring a career-high 20. Who? Dante Exum, a career-high 27 points for the Magic. He wasn't even on the floor game in and game out for this team. And, you know, Max Christie, who came over in that trade as well with AD, had 19 points. Spencer Dinwiddie had 17, and Kessler Edwards with 15 points and 9 boards, season highs for the Mavs. How about Tyler Herro? 40 points for Tyler. We don't need another hero. We needed one tonight. 40 points for Tyler. They were literally, you know, I mean, look, you're playing Oklahoma City and Dallas and road back-to-back. You know, they've lost 4 straight. Kel'el Ware, 17 points. Kyle Anderson, 15 points, 10 rebounds. Like, Kel'el had 9 boards as well as a couple of pretty big blocks. But I think it's pretty dope that Tyler had a great game. Don't get me wrong. He's an all-star. And really, what could he do tonight but just chuck and chuck and chuck and chuck and chuck? And this is Heat Postcast, by the way, free right here on YouTube, Locked On Sports Miami, and wherever you get your podcasts too, right? So if you get sick of this ugly face, you can go to Spotify. You can go to Apple Podcasts. You can go to iHeart, Stitcher, Podbean, wherever you get the audio versions of your podcast. And you don't have to see this ugly / handsome / whatever face you think it is. You can just listen. Also, soon to be on OTT. How about that? Yes, sir, ma'am, whatever you are and whoever you are, children of all ages, animals for that matter. We will be on OTT. Okay, so it's awesome because we added YouTube last year. Now we're adding OTT. We're adding merch for the hosts, and at some point they let us know that we will be selling Locked On merch. It's exciting. You know, you have 350 million plus. I think I said that right. People who listened / heard / downloaded / interacted with us in this past year, and I think that's dope because we haven't even started things like Locked On UFC yet. But the Zebras have it. You know what I'm saying? They got their eyes on you. Everything that you see. I'm sticking up for my boy Drake, man. Kendrick Lamar, get out of here with that halftime show. And I'm not even talking like every other crazy, stupid white person in the world is talking. Oh, my God, what are they doing to our halftime show? No, this has nothing to do with that. I just don't like Kendrick Lamar. I'm Team Drake all the way. Although, as rap battles go, let's just say that wasn't exactly street level. Now, in fairness, we've lost Big and Tupac to a battle like that in the past, and we don't want to get too carried away with that. And hip-hop and the NBA go hand in hand, so calm down. You know they do. But a big win for the Mavs tonight with all those players out. they're a team that's going to be there in the end, obviously in the finals a year ago. Me and my infinite wisdom and knowledge covering the NBA for 30 plus years, I felt like when they made the move, honest to God, that Dallas might have gotten better short term. I don't know about long term with Luka, and I don't know that you get better losing a guy or trading a guy like Luka Doncic, who's a 5-time first-team All-NBA or at 25 years old, but he doesn't play a lick of defense. AD is a defensive player of the year type of dude, rim protector, 10-time All-Star, score you 30, get you 15, 20 rebounds on any given night, had been staying healthy. 76 games played last year, which is a big deal for him. He's only played 60-plus a couple times in his career in an 82-game season. And then this year he had played, 42 of the 47 games he had played in, but he had just hurt that abdominal area and was out when they traded him. Might have come back a little too soon, was tearing it up in that game. He was pointing at the floor going, I'm here. Well, yeah, that lasted 3 quarters, AD, not even. And it might have been the third. I can't remember if it was third or fourth quarter when he got hurt. But that team, man, you look at the guys they have out alone. If Clay can be Clay again on some level, now like 70% of Clay, and I'm not talking game 6 Clay. I'm not talking about 40-point Clay. I'm talking about just be Clay. You know what I'm saying? And good Clay, above average Clay, with AD playing power forward with Gafford and Lively in the middle at the post. Oh, Lord. And PJ Washington on the wing as well. And, of course, Kyrie, the wizardry of Kyrie Irving, probably the most skilled point guard we've ever seen on a basketball court, maybe the most skilled player overall. This is Heat Postcast on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Jim Grieshaber, call me Gries. Don't forget, too, you have a Heat Podcast. These guys do a great job day in and day out. You everydayers know this. And, of course, we have the Locked On Heat newsletter in your inbox every day. Ultimate Miami Heat and NBA coverage, wall to wall, up and down, front and back, side to side, you name it. They got you covered. Team and league coverage, LockedOnDaily.com. Check out your Locked On Heat daily newsletter as well as the podcast. We're free wherever you get your podcasts. We're free here on YouTube, and we're adding OTT. The Heat have lost 4 in a row. They dropped the second of a road back-to-back. They've run out of gas in the fourth quarter 3 times in the last 4 games. Obviously, look, what they did to the Celtics in the first quarter the other night, holding them to a season-low 18 points, with the shooting woes that Boston had, their lowest shooting percentage quarter of the season, with the new guys there, with Mitchell, with Anderson, who played well tonight. Anderson's a winning player, you know what I'm saying? So Kyle played, and he was on the floor in crunch time tonight, with Mitchell, for that matter, when Tyler kept turning the ball over, and he'd make a 3, then miss 3, and have a couple turnovers. And it sounds like I'm crapping on Tyler. Career-high 30 shots to get 40 points. And when Tyler Herro's shooting the ball, let's put it this way. At no point in his career should Tyler Herro have ever shot the ball 30 times in a game after high school. Is that too harsh? Because no one should shoot the ball 30 times in a game. First of all, I used to rail on Allen Iverson when he did it, but 30 shots in a game is too many. I mean, it depends, right? If you're shooting over 50%, it's not too many. But 30 shots to get 40 points in a game like tonight, okay, every once in a while. Bam's out. Bam had the huge game, 27-15 last night. You had Andrew Wiggins out. ESPN wrote an article today. You should go check it out about how Wiggins is literally on pace with the same numbers he had when he was an all-star, and what a good move this was for Miami. Number one, to get rid of Jimmy Butler and his petulance, right? I think I'm saying that right. But when Jimmy Butler leaves and you bring in a guy like Wiggins, who's, like you said, we've said on the show, a Swiss Army knife, can do it all, I really appreciate that, because that's the type of player they lost in Jimmy Butler. Wiggins is a better three-point shooter than Jimmy. His mid-range game is good. He draws a lot of fouls. And Miami lost this game on the free throw line tonight. They missed 9 free throws. They never do that. 17 of 26 in a 5-point game. That's the difference in the game right there. Crotty said it right at the end. John Crotty does a good job on the telecast, by the way, but he said it right at the end. There's your ball game, the missed free throws. That and second chance points for the Mavs in the fourth quarter. They had a 12-0 run in like 2 minutes late in the game. Spo couldn't even call a timeout fast enough. That's how quick the run went. Turnover, bucket, 3, bucket. You know what I mean? It was Dinwiddie. It was Exum. It was these who? But Miami fed right into it, as they have recently. Their ball handling has been atrocious. Now, Rozier was out again tonight, okay? Mitchell's new to the team. You know what I'm saying? So, and they don't really have a point guard anyway, so it is what it is. And turning the ball over has been a problem for this team. Spo did promise at the end of the game, though, in his press conference, that they will fix this and be ready for the stretch run. I don't know about you, Miami. I have confidence in this team. I don't know why I'd ever have confidence in a Pat Riley-led franchise. Do you? And this guy behind me coaching this team, making promises like that, yeah, I have faith in my guy, Eric Spoelstra, who I've known for 30-plus years when I used to go pick up the Miami Heat highlights on was it a Super 8? No, it was a beta. It was a beta. I can't even remember. A big old tape. I wasn't a beta. The tape was. Calm down. But a big old tape that I'd go pick up every week with all the Heat highlights on it for Sunday Night Sports Wrap. Shout out Jeff DeForest. Defo still kicking it and still doing shows. My man Deef still rocking it in South Florida. Much love and respect to one of my greatest mentors, the Mad Dog, Jim Manich. But Sunday Night Sports Wrap, an epic show in the history of Miami television. And I think so anyway, because I was on it. You know, Andrew Kalb, the producer, who was multiple time, what's the word I'm looking for? Murrow Award winner for ABC News. Yeah, him. Yeah, we had a great show. And I would go pick up the highlights from Spo. I've known him forever. But smart dude, really one of the best coaches in the league. And he will figure this out. We will talk about this on the other side, the embarrassment of riches, the tools in the toolbox, how I can see this team coming together in the second half. And I'm sure the Locked On Heat guys, both with the show and then obviously the Locked On Heat newsletter, day in and day out at LockedOnDaily.com, you will get a lot of looking ahead to post All-Star break Miami Heat basketball. I'm Jim Grieshaber. Call me Gries, Gries, your Heat postcast host. 118-113. They fall to the Mavs tonight in Dallas. Both teams extremely shorthanded as we hit the All-Star break. Miami goes 3 games under 500 for the first time this season. Amazing that they're 25-28 with everything they went through with Butler and the trades and what they got back. Amazing that they've been able to do all this. We'll talk about all that later in the show and what it all means moving into, quote unquote, the second half of the season. Also, we look at the box score. We look at the team stats. And then, of course, the fun stuff begins with the final score graphic, the turning point, and your stars of the game. Not the show. That'd be me, Jim Grieshaber. Call me Gries, at Jim Gries _ on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day. 5-point loss for the Heat tonight in Dallas. And we are here because of great sponsors who give you amazing deals, another one of which is coming your way right now. From the great folks at Wayfair. My lady is probably sitting on her phone right now checking out new patio sets, interior stuff, little knickknacks, decorative items, living rooms, dining rooms, you name it, bars. Wayfair's unbelievable. And after the holiday hustle, there is nothing like giving your home a little TLC. I always find that decluttering, refreshing my space, helps me get back into a routine. Yes, I said that with a straight face. You should see my room. Whether you're tidying up, clearing out, or just want to give your space a new look to start the year, Wayfair has everything you need, all within your budget. And listen, I mean, that's a big deal, right? The budget. Wayfair's got amazing things that look way more expensive than they are. People come over to the house all the time like, where'd you get that? Wayfair. And I'm currently looking for more stuff from Wayfair. Huge selection makes it easy to find pieces that fit my style and my budget. My favorite part? Easy. The free and hassle-free delivery, even for the larger items. That's a major, major plus for Wayfair. Their site's so easy to navigate, and I found everything I needed in no time at all. There's something for every style, every home. No matter your space, no matter your budget, Wayfair makes it easy to tackle your New Year's home goals. Very easy, with endless inspiration for every space. It's a big, big deal with Wayfair. What's your decor style? Why do you pick these items? What do you love about them? Well, no matter what it is and no matter what you love about them, you're going to find them at Wayfair. They're going to look great in your home. It's going to be timely, free, hassle-free delivery. So what does that mean? That means you, just like me, are going to give your home the refresh it needs with Wayfair. Head to wayfair.com right now. That's Wayfair, as in it's way fair to buy from Wayfair. Wayfair. Wayfair.com. Wayfair, every style, every home on the Locked On Podcast Network. Wayfair. How about that? I mean, we give you great deal. Well, we don't give them to you. Our sponsors do, but we bring, you know what I mean? What are we? We're the conductors of greatness. No, it wouldn't be greatness. What would that be? We're more than a gatekeeper. We're like the plug. We're the hookup. Holla if you hear me. We're the hookup. You know what I'm saying? We got you. We got your back. We got the best deals from the best companies for you all the time right here on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day. And Miami Heat fan, your team is going to be fine. Take it from me. take it from me. I swear to you, I have covered this team for so long. I have seen the way this thing operates from the inside. You don't need LeBron James, Chris Bosh, and Dwayne Wade to be a really good team in the NBA. Obviously, they made the finals run from the play-in, which is where they've been the past 2 years, by the way, from the play-in, which is teams 7 through 10. The first 6 automatically in, 7 through 10 play for the final 2 spots. You know the deal. They've been in it the last 2 years. First year, it worked out great because they went to the finals. Second year, not so much because they lost right after the play-in when they were smoking Philly. Jimmy B gets hurt. Look, he missed a lot of time the last couple of seasons. They lose by 5 tonight to Dallas, 118-113. They lose for the 4th time in a row. They lose back-to-back on the road. Back-to-back games on back-to-back nights. They lose and go under 500, 3 games under 500 for the first time this season. And yeah, you might on the surface look at it and go, wow, this is not looking good for Miami. Things haven't worked out at all. And look at where they are in the standings. You're 25-28. Okay, I get it. Now you got an 8-day break. I will get back to that. Un momento, por favor. All right? I like the way I rolled those R's. See that? That was a ring announcer. What you know about that? I used to roll my R's so bad, though, as a white dude. I used to try so hard to be authentic, and I'm a boxing and MMA ring announcer at the time, and I'm going, Roberto, and every single R I'm rolling. So my friend George, who's Mexican, who's the DJ, and I'm the ring announcer, comes up to me after the show because we run the show. Like, he's playing off my cues. I'm playing off his. It's us the whole night. I'm producing the show as I ring announce, and I'm rolling all my R's so badly that he comes up to me after the show, and he's like, Jim, he goes, can you get me a beer? And I'm like, all right, man, shut up. That's but I'm saying, like, it's authentic when you watch me on the show here is all I'm saying. All right, so standings wise, Miami's in 9th place right now, and this sucks. You lose 4 in a row. They were in 6th a few days ago. So obviously that tells you that there is a cluster of teams, right? So you got Indiana in 4th place with 30 wins, and then you got Milwaukee with 29, Detroit 29, Orlando 27, Atlanta 26, Miami 25, and Chicago 22. Philly and Brooklyn with 20 each. Where Brooklyn at? Nowhere good. That's for sure. But what a disappointment in Philly. Paul George has not played well at all. Maxey is like Tyler was tonight, or like Iverson used to be. 30 points on 30 shots. And Embiid, ooh, they're turning on him in Philly. When Philly sports fans turn on you, oh boy, it gets very ugly very quickly. And they did it all year to the Eagles. Props to the Eagles. The fans turned on them all year. The media tried to blow that thing up all year long. I don't blame Jalen Hurts for walking in the post-game press conference after the Super Bowl and going, is that what y'all are waiting to see? Meaning, hey, I won the Super Bowl. Shut up. Get off my back. But, all those teams jumbled up, all right? The Bulls are not a very good team. They're not going to be there. And Miami just played them. You saw them. Atlanta's not a good team at all either. 26-29. I expect them to fade. Orlando, 27-29. Interesting with those bigs, with Paolo and then with Franz. They're a pretty good team, Orlando, but I don't think they're a better team than the Heat will be once they gel with this group. Detroit's certainly not, but what an improvement with Cade Cunningham and the Pistons this year from last year. Giannis is out from Milwaukee. They traded Chris Middleton, a champion, a defensive stalwart, and a winning player for Kyle Kuzma, who the Lakers gave up on to send to Washington with Jordan Poole from Golden State so they could play run and gun like Bradley Beal used to do. And then when they get on a real team with a real playoff push and teams start to focus, you know what I'm saying? Look, I like Kuz. I'm not trying to rip on Kuzma too much here, but I'm trying to say I don't sweat the Remember Paulie and Rock. I don't sweat you. I don't sweat the Bucks, man. I just don't sweat the Bucks. Now the Pacers have seemingly had the Heat's number recently. But when you get above the Pacers, you start talking about the 3 teams I talk about every time I mention the playoffs with the Heat. On this show, I talk about the New York Knickerbockers at 36-18, and they got smoked last night. They gave 140 points, I believe, 130 or 140. And that's a Tom Thibodeau team. Defensively, that doesn't happen. That team might be in a little bit of trouble. The shine has worn off on Karl Anthony Towns and Jalen Brunson. I don't know. And look, it's wishful thinking. We hate the Knicks, right? And then the Celtics at number 2, 39-16. The way they shoot the 3, the way they defend, that team is brutal. The defending champions, they're going to be there. The surprise to me is Cleveland. Look, 25-4 at home, 19-6 on the road. They're 44-10. They lead the Celtics by 5.5 games at the break. Can you believe that? The break's almost here, by the way. The rest of the West Coast games are happening right now. Let me see. What do we got for the scores? Anything still going on here? Let me see. I'll have to get to that in a minute. But, man, it really is interesting when you think about it because I'm looking at the standings and it's so jumbled. And I'm going to get to the break in a minute. But when I'm looking at the standings and it's so jumbled in the East and I'm looking at the conference and, it's outside of those three teams, look, Miami with 25 wins, they're not catching the Knicks, right? You're not catching the Knicks unless the Knicks complete. So you're playing for the 4 seed, which would mean you'd have home court advantage in the first round, right? And then if you had an upset and then, the other series, you could get it again later. But this team, it won't matter in the playoffs. And don't forget, Wiggins is a champion and plays deep into the playoffs with the Dubs all those years. So there's that. And trading Jimmy Butler and bringing back the skill set that you got in Wiggins, which is so similar to Jimmy. He's a better shooter too. And Jimmy's more of a winning player, more of a crunch time player, more of a mean, tough, defensive-minded guy, leader more. So although I don't know a lot about Wiggins' leadership, so that's not fair either. You got plenty of leaders on this team. He doesn't need to be one. And I'm sure he will be in whatever way they need him to be or want him to be. But what I'm saying is you got back a winning player for Jimmy Butler, who's also a winning player. So that's nice as well. I'm late for a break. Got more to tell you about here, but it really is awesome with your support of this network and you being here, and you everydayers, love you. And those of you who stop by occasionally, love to see more of you. And if you're brand new, welcome. Our casa is su casa, right? Here on the Locked On Podcast Network. This is Heat Postcast. I'm Jim Grieshaber. Call me Grease. We have the Heat Podcast as well. We have your Locked On Heat newsletter. We have all those things, and it's the newsletters at LockedOnDaily.com, the Heat Podcast. You can check that out right here if you're wherever you're getting your podcast audio-wise, and then on YouTube as well, and soon to be Roku OTT, over-the-top TV, the streaming world. You got to love that. What a rapid rise. 350-plus million people. Can't be wrong. That was last year, a 20% increase from the year before. Where will we head to this year as we go OTT and all sorts of new things happening on the Locked On Podcast Network? When I wrap it up on the other side, we are going to give you the box score. We're going to give you the team stats. We're going to give you all the graphics you love, the final score, the turning point, and the 3, even though this isn't hockey, stars of the game tonight. Jim Grieshaber. Call me Grease. Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. This is your Heat Postcast, 118-113. They fall to Dallas, lose for the 4th time in a row. 3 games under 500 for the first time this season as they head to the All-Star break. So why am I so enthusiastic? What could I have to be happy about? We'll hit it in just a minute. This is Heat Postcast on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. All right. No spot in there for the YouTube audience as we roll along. Just roll along. That's right. R.I.P. Coolio. So we were talking about the standings, right? The Heat in 9th place. They'd be in the play-in right now. Philly, Brooklyn, Toronto, Charlotte, Washington. By the way, Toronto's who the Heat play next Friday. And I want to get into some things in a minute. But first, let me put a bow on this game and the pre-All-Star break, which is like the, quote-unquote midway point of the season. And people talk about the NBA doesn't really get started till Christmas Day. And, it's obviously been a month and a half since then. In those 6 weeks, the disaster, the soap opera, the nightmare of the Jimmy Butler saga, and the ending of the Jimmy Butler era, oh, man, it was terrible. Nobody saw it coming into the season. You kind of heard some things about it, and I know the guys were talking about it a little bit on Locked On Heat podcast before the season even, but Jimmy Butler missed a lot of games last year and the year before. The Heat were in the play-in both years, had a finals run the year before, out in the first round last year. And, tale of 2 teams, 2 years, 2 very different results from the same place, which was a result of a lot of things. And one of the big ones was Jimmy missing all that time over the past couple of years. All right, fast forward. Here we are, right? The trade happens. All the nonsense with Jimmy, Pat Riley not budging. When is Pat Riley? I mean, look, dude, he gets his due, but death taxes, don't doubt Pat Riley, right? I say it all the time on the show. To pull Wiggins back for Jimmy in that scenario, I mean, look, they were talking about Kevin Durant straight up, but he was never going to come to Miami. That was going to be Golden State. It was going to be Durant for Butler to Golden State, not to Miami. That was a Golden State Phoenix trade, not a Miami Phoenix trade with KD. And you wouldn't want Kevin Durant anyway. Trust me. You really, he's selfish. He's not a winning player. He doesn't have the intangibles. He had to go to Steph Curry's team to get a couple rings. He was the best player on that team, won the MVPs. But like his buddy, the ring chaser, that's what they do. That's how they've won, and that's how they got their rings. And LeBron went back to Cleveland, and if it weren't for Draymond Green getting suspended and the Warriors completely falling apart in that series, he would have no claim to anything. And I mean, it sounds harsh, but it is what it is, right? I don't believe that Pat Riley could have done any better than Andrew Wiggins with what he had to work with in that scenario when Butler had been demanding a trade. He'd been walking out of practice. How many people, how many teams, how many organizations are going to suspend a guy like that, like they did Jimmy 3 times? Very, very rare these days for any team and any executive to stand their ground and hold their ground and die on that hill. Pat Riley would die on that hill. But to bring back Wiggins, a champion, to bring back Wiggins, a former number 1 pick, to bring back Wiggins, an all-star, to bring back Wiggins, a guy who's a really good shooter, even from 3, 36 to 39%, very good numbers career-wise. He's a very good, well, a good rebounder. I went from very to pretty to just good. I should have just stuck with good. He's a good rebounder. He's a great teammate. He's got a ton of intangibles. Everybody loved him in Golden State. You got back a winning player for a winning player. And I think a change of scenery for Wiggins is dope. I really believe he's going to be a big key down the stretch for Miami. And from what I've seen from Davion Mitchell, scoring-wise, that's going to be great. All right, let's put a bow on this game real quick before we keep talking about the future's so bright. Gotta wear shades. All right, in the box, the Dallas Mavericks had a bunch of guys you've never heard of before who played pretty well tonight. 1, 2, 7 guys in double figures. How about no Kyrie Irving, no Anthony Davis, no Gafford, no Lively, no Klay Thompson, no PJ Washington. Yeah, 8 guys out for the Mavs who dressed 9 and were playing like practice squad players in the game. But opportunities to shine were taken advantage of. And how about a nice night for Dante Exum? We'll hear more about him in a minute. 27 points for Exum, a career high. 19 for Max Christie, one of the new Mavs. Came over and trade, was playing well for the Lakers before he left, too. Lakers are on fire right now, by the way. Spencer Dinwiddie had 18 points, big plays down the stretch for Dallas, including free throws that put the game away. Edwards, 15, prospered with 10. You had 12 for Marshall and 11 for Williams. And how about the Heat tonight? Tyler Herro, 40 points on 30 shots, but he was 3 of 14 from beyond the arc, including some really big misses late. He missed a floater and a runner late. He missed a pull-up from inside the free throw line late. He had a bunch of turnovers late. How many turnovers overall for Tyler tonight? I have to. I'm sorry, Tyler. You had 8 rebounds and 3 steals. Good job there. 3 turnovers. Okay, I thought he had more turnovers than that in the game. After Tyler, it was Kel'el Ware, the rookie, 17 and 9, but down the stretch, he was invisible, man, like Wonder Woman's plane. The Mavericks were getting offensive rebound after offensive rebound, putback after putback, and Kel'el Ware at 7-1 just was looking tired out there. And as a rookie, you shouldn't be tired, man. And I know you hit a wall as a rookie. You're not used to playing that many games. I get it. You're still, in the prime of your life. Deal with it. Suck it up and get it done. Anderson, good job by Anderson tonight with 15 points. Kyle Anderson, I think I called him Ryan Anderson before, but Kyle Anderson with 15 points. And what I've seen from him and what I've seen from, Davion Mitchell, what I've seen from him as well. And he only had 5 points tonight, but he scored pretty well last night. If those two can average double figures and Rozier can too, I think between those 3 guys, it's going to be a lot of fun on those wings because you got Wiggins, you know that. You got Tyler, and Jovic has kind of hit a little bit of a wall. More on him in a minute. 5 points for Mitchell tonight, by the way. 6 points for Jaquez back in the lineup. Missed 2 games with that stomach flu. Duncan had 9, had a couple of big threes down the stretch. 6 for Jovic. Hello, come on. Nikola, you got to get it going, bro. Got to get it going. 3 for Pelle Larsson. Had a nice 3 from the corner. He's got a pretty good jumper. And then 12 points for Alec Burks, who's been playing pretty well lately in that 2-guard role. I like him a lot. Team stats, meanwhile, for Miami, got to keep it moving here. You shot 47%. Dallas shot 51%. 3-pointers, 10 for 36. Dallas, 13 for 36. So Dallas made 3 more threes when you attempted the same number. They won by 5. That's 9 points. Hello. And then the free throws, Miami missed 9. 17 of 26 for 65%. They're way better than that. They got to make 5 more of those at least. They got to make at least 5 more of those, and there's your game. So between those extra threes, the free throws missed, all the threes that Tyler missed tonight, it's not easy or not hard to figure out how they lost this game. The assists, Dallas had 5 more. I mean, I don't even need to read the numbers. They're all pretty much even. Points in the paint, 62 apiece. The putbacks for Dallas were huge, especially in the fourth quarter. Neither team ever had a double-digit lead. It was back and forth and back all night long. Miami led by 1 after 1. They led by 1 after 2. Dallas led by 1 after 3, and they ended up winning by 5. Tyler had the 12th 30-point game of his career. You know what I mean? So I don't want to crap on them. 40-point game tonight, as a matter of fact, and just wasn't able to get it done. And down the stretch, one more thing, they gave up the 12-0 run very late in the game, all the way into about like a minute 10 left, and that was the dagger, obviously. But with 15 seconds left, they had a chance to foul. They let 8 seconds run off the clock before they committed a foul, and that obviously that's 2-3 possessions in a game like this. So you can't have that. And also Burks had a big missed free throw down the stretch. And, again, Eric Spoelstra promised after the game that the Heat will get all this corrected. I think they're going to end up middle of the pack in the East. I think when Wiggins comes in, look, we're going to give you let me do this first. As a matter of fact, I'm actually going to do this now. I'm going to give you what you love and what you came for. This is what you came for. All right, here we go. We are going to give you. Gonna give it to you. Gonna give it to you. All right. I'm having fun here. All right, here we go. Final score. 118-113. You know what I was doing there, right? Gonna give it to you. Gonna give it to you. Anyway, 118-113 at the Dallas Mavericks, who literally were about to start dressing popcorn vendors and merch clerks tonight. They had dressed 9 players. AD's out, Kyrie's out, Clay's out, Gafford, Lively, Washington. I mean, look, you got a guy leading the team in scoring. When they interviewed him after the game on the Mavericks telecast, they're like, hey, it's good to see you back on the floor again. He hadn't even played in a while, and this dude, scores a career-high 27 and beats the Heat. Why? Bam was out with that stomach bug. You know what I mean? And also the presence of Andrew Wiggins was very much missed tonight as well. So Bam and Wiggins would have made a huge difference in this game. And then the Mavs fans can go, hey, Kyrie, Clay, and AD, and Gafford, and Lively, and Washington. That's pretty much their top 6 guys who are out tonight for Dallas. So you can't use the Bam and Rozier and what you call it. But again, the Heat have had that stomach bug ripping through that locker room all week now, with guys missing games all week. So they have not had a full squad practice since this trade. They have not had a full squad available for a game since this trade. They just haven't, because Jaquez missed the 2 games. Tyler missed the game against the Celtics, right? And then you hit the road and you have guys like Rozier's been out the last 2. Anderson missed last night. Wiggins out tonight with Bam. It is what it is. The stomach flu for the team. But here's what I'm going to end with. Here's the big finish. Are you ready? The big finish right here. And the audience is surging. So, by the way, please subscribe. We love you. The gratitude is real. And hit that bell so you know and you get the alerts when we're coming your way with more content. And don't forget about Locked On Heat podcast, as well as Locked On Heat newsletter, which is at lockedondaily.com. All of this is free. And the postcast after every game as well. We pick it back up next Friday when they play the Raptors. But how about this for Miami? 8 days, Spoelstra, the Brain Trust, Riley. They work so great as a team together. And I love it. I'm a basketball nerd too. I sit here at night trying to fall asleep going, what if they move Wiggins to the 3? To the 4. And they, you know what I mean? Like you still play Bam at center and Wiggins at the 4, but then you have Bam at the 4 and Wiggins at the 3 with Kel'el at center. And oh my God, there's so many things there with that front court alone. But then you start thinking about the wings and all the things that they can do. Because I consider Wiggins to be more of a forward, a 3/4. But then you have like the 2/3s and then the straight 3s, right? So between Wiggins, who he can play 3 and play 3 great for you. But then you have Jovic and you have Duncan Robinson, a great shooter. And then you have Tyler at the 2 and Rozier and Mitchell, who can play the point for you. And then you have also at the 2 and the 3, Anderson. So many options there offensively, shooters, drivers, dishers. You have great and within the flow of the offense, so much basketball IQ on that team. You really do. You have everything offensively. You have rebounding. You have so much to work with. You have defensive stoppers. You have one of the best on-ball defenders in the league, right? And Davion Mitchell. So when you talk about this Miami Heat team and all these, I expect them to have a deep rotation. Because think about this, right? And they didn't play tonight. And when Kevin Love, and I don't, when the playoffs come around, Kevin Love's going to give you some minutes, and he's going to be important minutes for K-Love. So you're looking at a rotation for the playoffs. You're not going to see Highsmith. He didn't play tonight. Wiggins was out, and Bam is actually listed with a knee contusion, not the stomach bug, by the way. Wiggins had the stomach illness, which everybody's had, and Rozier had it for the second straight game. But think about that rotation, right? And I don't know if one of these regulars, quote unquote, is going to make it, because I don't think you're going to see much of Larson once the rotation gets going. But, with Herro and Burks and Rozier and Mitchell, you know what I mean? That's an impressive group right there. And Anderson with his size, he could play power forward too. So between Anderson and Wiggins with Bam and Kel'el Ware, that's some size up there in the front court. Jaquez too, don't want to leave him out of that group. There's going to be some spirited practices as these guys fight for minutes and to mesh and gel as a team. They're going to be really good in the playoffs. I'm telling you this right now. Then on top of that, on the wings with Tyler and Burks at the 2, I like those guys. And obviously Wiggins shoots the 3 really well also. So does Duncan Robinson. And, Duncan's no slouch either. And at 6'7", he's got some size. So you have the size. You have Jovic with the playmaking ability and the passing and his development. So Burks and Jovic and Jaquez are going to be those guys on the fringe. And then, you have the starting 5. And then you have Anderson, of course, on the fringe there too as well. Jovic and Anderson on the edge there. But, you think about Wiggins and what he can do, the shooting, the passing, the rebounding, the leadership, the winning, the intangibles. So you're thinking about Bam and Wiggins with Kel'el Ware, and then Rozier or Mitchell with Tyler. And then the other one comes off the bench, Rozier or Mitchell, and then you have Jovic, and then you have Burks, and then you have Duncan, and Duncan might start too. You have K-Love in the playoffs. So a 9-10 player rotation when the playoffs hit for Miami, and quality minutes. And look, you've seen it from guys in the past like Strus and Caleb Martin. I mean, right? It happens. So the Heat culture, the Heat way, this is what they excel at. I still can't believe Riley brought back Wiggins for Jimmy Butler. And when Chef Spo starts digging in that pot, man, with that big old wooden spoon, come and get it. Ding, 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 ding. I swear to you, man, I cannot wait to see what he does with this group. You have so much to work with between the 2 and the 4, those positions, and the development of Ware at center. They don't have a true point guard, but if Mitchell and Rozier can get it done, man, they come at you in waves in that front line. They got size, they got strength, they got rebounding, they got athleticism, they got scoring, shooting, all of it. I don't think they're a great team. I don't think they're a team that's going to make a run for a championship with this team right here, this lineup. But I do think it's a team that nobody wants to see in the playoffs. It's a versatile team that can score, that can shoot, that can defend. And all these things that they've been through, all these players having to play meaningful minutes in games while Jimmy was pouting, while this bug has hit. They still haven't had a full practice or a full game together with the new players because of illness and things like that. So when this all comes together, Chef Spo mixing it up, what are you going to see? What's it going to look like? I don't know, but it's going to be a lot of fun. Make sure you're here after every game for your Heat postcast. Make sure you watch Locked On Heat podcast every single day. They do an amazing job. And make sure you check out your Heat newsletter, lockedondaily.com, for that one. Thank you to you everydayers. You guys make us happy because we know how much you love the network. If you're new, we love you as well, and we appreciate you being here. Nothing but an attitude of gratitude coming from all of us here on the Locked On Podcast Network as we continue to grow and be a force on the sports, I want to say entertainment landscape. That does it for us here tonight on your Heat postcast. 118-113. The Mavericks beat Miami. 4th loss in a row for the Heat. They go 3 games under 500 for the first time this season. But, and it's a big old but, I can take that graphic down now. You haven't had to see my face for a while. But for the Miami Heat, a lot of positives as they start putting this roster together. Let's look at the turning point of this game before we get out of here. And it was a 12-0 run late for Dallas in the 4th quarter. And Tyler's like, what? I took 30 shots to get 40 points? Really? And Miami missed 9 free throws in the game. And Tyler went 3 of 14 from 3. All right, so the stars of the show, of the game, really. And here is one. Dante Exum, a career-high 27 points from, like, the last guy on the bench to career high in this game. Great job by Exum. Tremendous job by him. And then you had, oh, boy. I downloaded 2 of his by mistake. So unfortunately, I think I can show it to you right here though. It was there we at. It ain't where you from, it's where you at. So I don't want to do this to Kel'el Ware because he had a really good first half and a real, I'm not going to do this right now. I'm not going to do this actually because I'll mess it up and it'll cause some sort of technical issue, and I really don't want to do that. But you'll have to take my word for it that Kel'el Ware with the 17 points and 9 rebounds, even though he was the invisible man in the fourth quarter while the Mavs were grabbing every offensive rebound of every shot ever taken, still 17 and 9 for the rookie. The development is real, y'all. The development is real with Killer K, and I'm looking forward to seeing what he does with all this time to get used to his new teammates as he's been emerging and growing as well. And, of course, you got to have this dude in here tonight, star of the game. Tyler Herro. Look at him smiling. I'd be smiling too if I scored 40 and I was going to the All-Star game. Yep. Tyler Herro. 40 points on 30 shots, but 40 points. And he missed 11 of his 14 threes. He had 40 points and he missed 11 of his 14 threes. Can you imagine if he hit like 5 of those? Miami would have won by 10 or 12 points. So that's what it was. They missed a bunch of free throws they don't normally miss. Tyler's still cold from 3, but the stomach illness will be gone. The new guys will be a lot more used to playing with and against one another. Those practices are going to be unbelievable. I can't wait. They come back in next week and get them ready. I don't know what their practice schedule is. I know they have a break. They're not going to be practicing all 8 days. Obviously, I know that, but we'll see. But again, one more time, I want to thank you for being here. Heat Postcast on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day. Once again, the final score, 118-113, the Dallas Mavericks with the victory. The Heat fall to number 9 in the Eastern Conference, 9th spot, but so many teams jumbled up from 4 to 11 that they're all within a couple of games of one another. They resume their season next Friday against the Toronto Raptors. Can't wait for that one. We'll be right here with your Heat Postcast right after that game. Keep your game tight and your mind right, Heat fans. We are